Welcome back to WION World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Vidur Kathuria. Let's get started. US President Donald Trump said he hoped to avoid military action against Iran. He further said he planned to hold further talks with Tehran on a possible nuclear deal. Earlier, US President Donald Trump's Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said US military is ready to carry out President's orders on Iran, this to ensure that Tehran does not pursue nuclear weapons capability. Iran has already vowed to instantly hit back, but the diplomacy option is also open. Meanwhile, a large US military force gathered in the region that could complicate efforts to defuse tensions and prevent an all-out war. Dozens rallied in Brussels outside the European Council as EU foreign ministers agreed to include the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps on bloc's list of terrorist organizations. This has put the powerful guards in a category similar to that of Islamic State and Al-Qaeda, marking a symbolic shift in Europe's approach to Iran's leadership. Waving flags of the Iranian opposition, rallygoers welcomed the EU's announcement, set up after Iran's 1979 Islamic Revolution to protect the Shiite clerical ruling system. The IRGC has great sway in the country, controlling swathes of the economy and armed forces. Dozens of supporters of former Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki held a protest in Baghdad in front of the Green Zone gate in objection to US President Donald Trump's tweet calling for Maliki not to run for the position of Prime Minister. Video shows protesters chanted slogans against America and slogans in support of the former Prime Minister, who appeared poised for a remarkable comeback. He now finds himself in Trump's crosshairs. Trump had warned Iraq that Washington would no longer help the major oil producer and close US ally if it picked the Iranian-backed Maliki as its prime minister again. Trump's border chief Tom Homan has said some federal agents could be withdrawn from Minneapolis after public backlash over shooting deaths of 2 Americans. However, Homan has maintained that immigration enforcement will continue in the wake of nationwide protests after ICE agents gunned down US citizens. Homan has promised to make the operation safer. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey called for an end to President Donald Trump's immigration enforcement surge in Minneapolis and across the US. This while addressing the National Conference of Mayors in Washington. Minneapolis has seen weeks of daily clashes between protesters and immigration agents, spiked by the fatal shooting of 2 US citizens during such confrontations. Minneapolis and St. Paul have been in a state of upheaval since Trump ordered some 3,000 heavily armed ICE and Border Patrol agents to the area to conduct a deportation drive dubbed Operation Metro Surge. Democrats voted to block legislation to fund the Department of Homeland Security and several other agencies, threatening a partial government shutdown as they continue to negotiate with Republicans and the White House on new restrictions for President Donald Trump's surge of immigration enforcement. As the country reels from the deaths of 2 protesters at the hands of federal agents in Minneapolis, Republicans and the White House have indicated they are open to separating the Homeland Security funding out of a larger spending bill and continuing it at current levels for a short time. This while they debate Democratic demands for curbs on the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. US President Donald Trump said that Russia had agreed to pause its shooting for a period of time. Trump claimed the shooting could still temporarily due to the extreme cold weather. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he expected the agreement announced by Trump to be implemented, adding that the coming days would show whether Moscow would abide by it. Speaking immediately afterwards in his nightly video address, Zelensky expressed his thanks to Washington for the initiative, which he described as halting Russian strikes on energy targets. The US has said that the next phase towards ending the Israel-Hamas war is in motion. Speaking to reporters at a cabinet meeting, US President Donald Trump said that it appears that Hamas is prepared to give up its weapons, a move he suggested could mark a major breakthrough in efforts to stabilize a fragile ceasefire with Israel. However, a senior Hamas official refuted Trump's claims, saying that neither has Hamas agreed to disarm nor was the condition raised with them directly. Last week, US indicated it is fast moving towards the second phase of the plan, including rebuilding Gaza and establishing a new governance body. New Zealand has declined US President Donald Trump's invitation to join his Board of Peace. With this, New Zealand joins countries like France, Norway and Croatia in rejecting the proposal, though it said it will continue to monitor developments. Trump launched his Board of Peace last week, initially designed to cement Gaza's rocky ceasefire, but one which he foresees will play a wider role that concerns other global powers. Niger's military ruler blamed the French, Benin and Ivory Coast presidents for sponsoring the attack on Niamey International Airport. He made this accusation without offering any evidence. Gunfire and loud explosions echoed around Niger's International Airport in Niamey shortly before midnight in what two security sources described as a terrorist attack. Military ruler Tiani has also vowed retaliation. This signals further worsening of relationship between the Sahel nation, its neighbors he sees as French proxies in the region, and the former colonial power. US President Donald Trump warned the United Kingdom against getting into business with China, saying it would be very dangerous. During a film premiere at the Kennedy Center, Trump was asked about the UK pledging greater business cooperation with China. To this, Trump responded he thinks it's even more dangerous for Canada to get into business with China. His remarks come as British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney paid a visit to Beijing recently to boost bilateral ties. In a historic milestone, Taiwan has completed maiden underwater sea trial for first domestically developed submarine. This in a project aimed at strengthening deterrence against Chinese Navy and protecting vital sea lines in event of war. Taiwan, which China claims as its own territory, has made the indigenous submarine program a key part of an ambitious project to modernize its armed forces as Beijing stages almost daily military exercises to assert its sovereignty claims. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un reportedly set a goal to carry out large-scale construction projects this year, including industrial factories in 20 regions simultaneously. This as the country gears up for a key party congress. North Korea is preparing to hold the 9th Party Congress of the ruling Workers' Party to convene soon to set major policy goals. Japan has recorded a troubling new milestone in child suicide deaths. Government data shows that 532 children died by suicide in 2025, the highest number ever recorded and the second consecutive year the figure has reached a historic high. This rise comes despite an overall decline in suicides nationwide, with Japan's total suicide toll falling to its lowest level in more than 4 decades. The Minister for Children's Policy, Hitoshi Kikawada, said the situation represents a serious challenge that society as a whole must confront. Experts say the figures are particularly alarming. Hundreds have attended mass for victims of train accident that took place in Spain's Andalusia. Spain is still recovering from the January 18 disaster near the village of Ademuz in southern Spain that caused one of the highest death tolls from a train crash in European history. Relatives of the 45 people who died in last week's train crash are demanding for justice and accountability of the mishap. The government has been scrutinized over whether it has sufficiently invested in maintenance of Spain's vaunted railway system since the crash and other incidents that same week, including the death of a train driver in Catalonia. Historic Alexandria tramway prepares to shut down ahead of a contested overhaul. The blue and white tram carriages in Egypt's second city date back to 1860 and started moving in 1863. They moved along century-and-a-half-old line next week. Authorities are starting a sweeping renovation aimed at replacing the nearly 14-kilometer line's trams with a digitally controlled light rail system. This is one of the latest projects in a broader push to revamp Egypt's road and rail networks under President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Direct flights between Bangladesh and Pakistan have resumed after 14 years. This comes amid growing bonhomie between the two nations, which have had an uneasy relationship since their split in 1971. Direct flights between Dhaka and Karachi will now operate twice weekly. National carrier of Bangladesh Airlines departed for Karachi on Thursday, marking the first regular flight since 2012. The airline said their resumption would promote trade and commerce, expand educational exchanges, and foster cultural ties between the two countries. Since 2012, travelers between Bangladesh and Pakistan had to use connecting flights through Gulf hubs such as Dubai and Doha. Heavy rains triggered deadly mudslides in Peru's Chanchamayo province in Junin region, leaving roads destroyed, homes buried in debris, and residents stranded as machinery worked to clear affected areas. The disaster damaged various homes, cut off water and electricity services, and left victims pleading for blankets and food, according to Peru's National Civil Defense Institute. Between December 2025 and January 2026, the country has declared 519 districts in emergency due to intense rainfall. 167 roads were affected, 20 kilometers of highways completely destroyed, and 22 deaths recorded this year from lightning strikes and landslides. Snow clearance operations are currently in progress on the Mughal Road in Jammu and Kashmir. The drive is being undertaken by the Border Roads Organization from Hirpura towards Pir Ki Gali. The efforts are focused on restoring connectivity following heavy snowfall in the region. Adequate machinery and manpower have been deployed on a war footing to remove accumulated snow and ensure the road is made safe for vehicular movement. Authorities have advised commuters to avoid non-essential travel until the clearance work is completed. Moscow set its third meteorological record in a month with 14 millimeters of precipitation falling in one day, surpassing the previous record for that day set in 1977. Over the 2 days, 27 millimeters of precipitation fell in the capital, which is more than half of the monthly norm. According to Russia's main weather bureau, since the beginning of January, 76.2 millimeters of precipitation has been recorded. Meteorologists say the snow depth in the capital has exceeded 60 centimeters, but people in the streets of Moscow seemed unfazed by the weather, with many seeming to be enjoying it. Argentina battled multiple forest fires around the town of Cholila in Chubut province as wind gusts and extreme temperatures threatened to overwhelm containment efforts. This also prompted the national government to announce an emergency declaration. The Provincial Fire Management Service has reportedly warned that weather conditions in the coming hours could breach containment perimeters in key sectors. Emergency officials said rapidly shifting winds forced firefighters to relocate and retreat when gusts changed direction within hours, putting crews at risk. The region faced a yellow alert for temperatures up to 36 degrees Celsius and extreme drought, while low visibility from smoke affected operations. An adult northern elephant seal nicknamed Panchito, who has been monitored by marine biologists since 2020, appeared on Los Ayala Beach in Mexico. This prompted Mexican Navy personnel to establish an 80-meter security perimeter around the 3-meter-long animal weighing approximately 700 to 900 kilograms. Officials from the Federal Environmental Protection Agency inspected the elephant seal and confirmed it appeared to be in good health with no visible injuries or signs of mistreatment. They said the animal likely came ashore to rest, which is common behavior for the species. Experts say the seal's presence, far from its natural habitat, may be linked to climate change. Asian markets traded mixed after US President Donald Trump said he will announce his choice for the next Federal Reserve chair on Friday, adding uncertainty for global investors. Trump said the 5-month search to replace current chair Jerome Powell is nearing its end following a selection process that began in September. South Korean stocks led gains with the Kospi up more than 1% and the Kosdaq also higher. Japan's Nikkei and Topix both posted modest advances, while Australia's ASX 200 edged up. In contrast, Chinese markets were weaker. Hong Kong's Hang Seng slipped more than 0.7%, and mainland China's CSI 300 also declined as investors weighed the potential implications of a leadership change at the US Central Bank. Gold prices slipped on Friday as the dollar firmed, but the metal is still on track for its strongest monthly performance since 1980. Spot gold fell nearly 1% after hitting a fresh record above $5,590, yet prices are up more than 24% in January, marking a 6th straight monthly gain as investors seek safety amid geopolitical and economic uncertainty. Silver eased slightly after a record high, but remains up more than 60% this month. That's on course for its best ever monthly rise. Support for precious metals has come from steady safe haven demand, strong investment flows, and expectations that US interest rates will stay higher for longer. Oil prices hovered near multi-month highs on Friday as escalating tensions over a possible US strike on Iran lifted risk premiums in global crude markets. Brent crude hovered around $70.5 a barrel, benchmark set for their largest monthly gains in years amid geopolitical concerns. Investors are pricing in the potential for supply disruptions from Iran and threats to exports or shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, following warnings from US officials and retaliatory rhetoric from Tehran. Talks involving US, Israeli, and Saudi officials continue, but no military decision has been made. Analysts expect any US action, if it occurs, to be limited and to avoid direct strikes on Iranian oil infrastructure. But the elevated risk outlook has boosted oil through the session. The US dollar eased against major currencies on Thursday as investors remain nervous about US economic and trade policy, despite some support from a mildly hawkish Federal Reserve. The greenback slipped against the yen and the euro, though it stayed above recent multi-year lows after last week's sharp sell-off. Markets remain wary amid tariff uncertainty, mixed signals from the White House on the dollar, and expectations around future Fed leadership. The Fed's decision to hold rates steady and signs of a resilient US economy offered limited relief, even as President Donald Trump renewed calls for much lower interest rates. The euro's strength has put it back on the European Central Bank's radar, while the softer dollar has given the yen some breathing room amid talk of possible intervention. Nvidia, Amazon and Microsoft are in talks to invest up to $60 billion in OpenAI, according to a report by The Information. Nvidia is discussing an investment of up to $30 billion, while Microsoft is considering an investment of less than $10 billion, and Amazon may invest more than $20 billion as a new backer. The new report says OpenAI is close to receiving investment commitments from these tech giants as talk move towards formal term sheets. Amazon's investment may also depend on separate negotiations, including cloud partnerships and commercial deals to sell OpenAI products. Alibaba's logistics arm is planning to merge its autonomous driving unit with Chinese robo-van company Zelos Technology, creating a new entity valued at around $2 billion. Under the deal, Alibaba will acquire a stake in Zelos, while Zelos is expected to operate the merged entity, which will be known as Keimiao Robovan. Alibaba's unmanned vehicle business under its logistics arm will be folded into Zelos, with the new entity expected to run a fleet of more than 20,000 robovans. Apple has hired Sebastian DeWitt, co-founder of iPhone camera app Halide, to join its design team. DeWitt, who co-founded app maker Lux in 2016, has previously worked at Apple and contributed to projects like iCloud and Find My iPhone. Before launching Lux, he also worked as a designer for companies including Sony, T-Mobile and Mozilla. Lux confirmed that Halide will continue to be developed independently, with the company releasing a preview of its new version, Halide Mark III, featuring film-style camera looks. Former Google software engineer Lin Wei Ding has been convicted by a federal jury in San Francisco for stealing AI trade secrets to benefit two Chinese companies. Ding, a 38-year-old Chinese national, was found guilty on 7 counts of economic espionage and 7 counts of theft of trade secrets. Prosecutors said he stole thousands of pages of confidential information about Google's AI infrastructure and software platform. Each economic espionage count carries up to 15 years in prison and a $5 million fine, while trade secrets counts carry up to 10 years and $250,000. Music streaming platform Deezer has licensed its artificial intelligence detection technology to France's royalty agency SACEM in a landmark commercial deal to combat music fraud. The deal comes as AI-generated songs blur the line between human and machine-made music, allowing fraudulent streams to siphon royalties from artists. In 2025, Deezer identified and removed up to 85% of AI-generated tracks from its royalty pool, flagging over 13.4 million tracks. The platform now receives around 60,000 fully AI-created songs daily, nearly 39% of total daily uploads. Boxer Anthony Joshua broke down while paying tribute to his two friends who died in a car crash in Nigeria. It was the first time Joshua had spoken publicly since sustaining minor injuries in the crash on December 29th. Lateef Ayodele and Sina Ghami were both pronounced dead at the scene. Ayodele was the personal trainer of the former two-time unified heavyweight champion, while Ghami was Joshua's strength and conditioning coach. Earlier this month, the chauffeur driving the car appeared in court in Nigeria. He has been charged with 4 offenses, including causing death by dangerous driving. That's it on this edition of Speed News. News and updates will continue on the other side of this short break. Keep watching WION World is One.